Welcome guys to the second half of the Ultimate Mobile Racing League Winter 2026, and we see Lozy returning to the league. At least he was supposed to, and he also got through the connection check and now disconnected right as the session went underway. I can't tell you, Lozy, but yeah, welcome around Silverstone. It's the third edition of this Grand Prix. Last season we liked it so much that we do want it back right away, and we have a 25% chance of rain again. And we watch lap 2 opening now around this breathtaking circuit. We go through the first few corners down the Wellington Straight with Krusnett, the only repeat winner of this season so far, winning 3 races out of 5, and the last one was a striking dominant drive around Montevideo, as Matt becomes the second retirement in qualifying already. And yeah, I think this circuit is one of the best for racing in real life, and also in this game, especially the first few corners. The rest is a bit flat out, I would say. It doesn't punish mistakes as some other tracks might, especially Montevideo was really tough in that regard. And now we see Ozzy returning to the league, his first race of the season, with a 35.30. I think he's more active in the PC leagues, and he's tied with Senna for first place. Senna set that time first though. And then we got Guillermo in the Williams. That's one of the biggest headlines going into this race. Williams are just the second team with a double champions lineup, and this time they share 3 championships between them, with Laguna of course also racing there. So no Ziegwin and no Nikhil this race. Now Krusnett has gone to provisional pole position with a 35.28. The record from last season is a .22, and we have seen that time already in the lower leagues and also in the practice races throughout the week. And now Krusnett is still just above that. It's still enough by almost a tenth of a second. Then we see Senna, who has gone from S25M to APA, another team change in his career, as Matthew kind of did a strange offer in the contracts channel on the Discord, which you should all join, just offering any other team to take Senna, and then the contract ends or whatever. He made sure that he got a seat, but kind of wanted to get rid of him. But Senna in third place for APA, trying to restore the glory of Fede's team maybe. They've got also the special livery from Monaco 24 McLaren. And Ozzy has also retaken pole position. Another 200s, and now Justin even further ahead. He's 100th off the pole lap from last season. But Justin, 35.23, pole position for the Dutchman again this season, as he already did at Portimao. Where is he? Here he is in the white Etruria racing team to celebrate the Milano Cortina Olympic Winter Games, on pole position.
And it's his third of this season already, after he took it at Portimao for the second time in his career. That was his only pole last season, so he's got 4 overall. And of course also at Zandvoort, where he then DNF'd in his home race. Very, very sad moment. And one thing I missed completely for the second time this season is Piggy qualifying on the front row. While I was busy celebrating Justin, who's on pole, Piggy claimed second for MP Motorsport. We know how that went in Malaysia, so we can only hope that it's going to be better in his home race around here. Krusnett, who is now absolutely the favorite for the title, qualifies in third place. Ozzy in P4 after a very nice qualifying, saw him on provisional pole, but 4th on the grid is also great for him, and 1 time. Senna's going to start in P5 again. He also did that in Uruguay. He has seen easier times for him, but let's hope for a fresh start for him at APA. Guillermo will start in 6th place. But Williams E-Racing, the rivals from Etruria Racing Team, where Guillermo has been the star driver over the last few seasons. Now, because he's only reserve driver at Hurricane Racing Team, he is free to also go to other teams. And in a rare bad qualifying for Laguna, Guillermo outqualifies the reigning champion. We see Sigma Bob starting in 7th, expect the Italian to also fight for the podium at the very least. And Ludwig has absolutely mastered the rain at Malaysia, so he could go up further as well in the second Ivanova GP. And Majumdar, the owner of S25M, is racing his second race of the season, with Nitro as his teammate joining him on the 5th row. Then we have Fede and Paradrive, the 3rd time in a row that Paradrive qualifies outside the top 10. He was leading the championship after the Dutch Grand Prix. Now the old rivals Krosnet and Laguno have jumped ahead of him. But the 2-time champion Laguno is going to start only in 13th behind Paradrive, alongside Tosa64. Then we have Sabercat in the second 1-time, Juanvi in P16 racing again. And both of the Hurricane Racing teams did not finish qualifying and are going to start from the back. Yeah, you might have noticed the difference in quality of the audio. I made an update and didn't know how to fix it, and so I couldn't use my microphone. So we're back to using phone audio. I'm sorry, it's going to be better again next time. And let's hope at least for some quality racing around the Silverstone Circuit.
We line up for the 6th race of the season with light rain coming up right away. 25% chance of rain for every weather change that we're going to go through. Lights out for Piggy and Justin on the front row. Piggy in the MP Motorsport. Can he regain the lead just like he almost did on lap 1 in Malaysia? No, he can't, and he is going to be flushed right towards the back in the first section of corners. Right at the front we see Krosnet on the intermediate tires and Justin pulling away on the soft tires on lap 1 at the very least. And now it is going to dry up, and that is the absolute correct call for Justin, who won his first race 1 season ago around here, ahead of his teammate Sigma Bob, who is racing in P3 this time around as well, having picked the correct tires too. And could this be the strike in points for Etruria Racing Team that they have been hoping for in round 4 already? They are still in the lead in the team's standings, ahead of Ivanova GP. But Crust, of course, yeah, now not looking that good. He's still in P5 in the slipstream on the intermediate tires. And Aussie in P6 on the inters as well. Matthew, then we got Guillermo and Ludwig racing side by side towards the pit lane. Guillermo decides to pit now, and Ludwig carries on the inters. That's something that's worked beautifully for him in Malaysia already. Sabercat has also picked softs at the front, and he is now up into the podium places. He's ahead of Senna on track in the 2024 McLaren Special Liveried APA. It doesn't even quite look like the McLaren, and it's kind of random, but I think you get it, and I think it looks very nice. And Crust is still chasing them on the inters, hoping that he just doesn't lose that much time. No, now he goes for the slicks. He doesn't trust the weather. Paradrive qualified down in P13 with Laguno in P12 only. Has now gone up to P5 with 1 pit stop behind him already. Nitro is in the S25M now instead of Senna. So quite some big shakeups in the mid-season break here. Laguno has made a comeback all the way up to P7 for the moment. And Ludwig holding up Fede and Juanvi going through Chapel Corner in the Ivanova GP. I think it is in P7 in the championship at the moment, as Fede goes around the outside of Stowe and into that final chicane, which is pretty fast and can get very, very deadly very easily. And Ludwig loses all the positions to Juanvi, Piggy, Aussie and Crust, who is now on mediums, but down to 12th place. And Laguno, just like that, has gone ahead of him and now also past Nitro, going down the old start-finish straight. But look at that gap between Paradrive, who's in 5th place, and then the guys that have made the correct choice in these first few laps. The softs last 7 to 11 laps, and they are in kind of an offset now. They're gonna have to pit earlier as Saber and Senna get tangled up. Saber's car very sideways in turn 4, and still keeps it in there ahead of Senna, and the 2 Etrurias just like that lead again. 1-2, just like they did 1 season ago. Sigma Bob, of course, got kind of he got unlucky with the rain. Still finished in 2nd place for the first time in his career, and then of course went on to take his first win for MP Motorsport in the final round of the season. And also in the last 2 races, Sigma Bob has finished behind Krosnet in second place. That second place has gone to the new challengers all the way throughout the season so far. Once for Ludwig as well, and twice for Paradrive. And Pero, of course, is also still chasing that first win. As we see Fede in 9th place, chasing Krosnet. Oh, and weaving to the right-hand side, and that puts Ozzy off. That's very much a trailer misjudgment by the Italian. And Ozzy goes down to 11th place. Fede stays where he is. Juanvi also returning for the first time since the second round at Brazil. And he is racing in the Minardi with the Durex special livery, resembling an F1 car from the 70s. Yeah, just stay safe, guys. Make sure your rubber doesn't wear off and change it. That's also what Signal is doing. He goes for the medium tires, as does Sabercat and Senna. Justin is feeling risky today, in the lead of the race, drifting around turn 7, that is, Luffield. Paradrive on his softs that are also wearing off now. Together with Nitro is up into 3rd place. So they also can't go very long in that race. There might be a slight advantage for Krosnet on his mediums, as he is very close to Laguno now, who goes wide at Stowe. Krosnet, is he going to go through into the chicane? We go. And he is ahead of Laguno, not ahead of Senna yet. Laguno also tries to pass the German driver in the one time around the outside. No, Laguno doesn't manage to pass Saber R, who's on the fresher softs. Oh, and into the pit wall. Oh, on the old pit straight, Sabercat with a big mistake, and Senna just crashes right into him in the back, and the two champions are left alone in the fight for 5th place. And that's Fede who goes into the pits. That's Ozzy in the other one time. He's had a very turbulent race already. Currently down in 14th place. And what about Piggy? Losing out on lap 1 again. This time not retiring. He's in P10 in the championship right now. His best result was P6 at the Dutch Grand Prix. And luck not necessarily going his way. It's quite different on Paradrive's side of the garage. But he also still wants to get that first win. Yeah, still very big gaps at the front. Justin in first place on pretty fresh soft Signalbob as well. Etruria controlling the race right now, as Krosnet hopes for rain to appear very soon, because he's on his mediums ever since he had to quit the Inter gamble. And rain is not here. I promise I set it up. Sabercat is in 4th place. Paradrive P5, then Senna, Maju, Toaster up to P8. He started down in P14 behind Laguna and Peru, two of our potential championship contenders here. And Majumdar has made a mistake. He is also racing for just the 2nd time this season. He's on old mediums there. Laguna on fresh ones. He's already made 2 stops, as he's now going to try and pass Toaster and Stowe. Not too much of a fight going on there as well. But Laguna is in P7, as they all just kind of try to recover from that messy first strategy stint. And the two S25Ms now closely together. Nitro down the inside at Brooklands on the fresh softs. And Magic can't even pick up the slipstream for too long. And we get Fede in 11th place, where he started. 2 stops for him right now. And Lozi, now racing after not qualifying in the Hurricane Racing team. And passing Ozzy, as Juanvi and Ozzy just go left to right across the entire track, bump into the wall. Ozzy goes into the pit lane and now retires from the race as Juan V passes Autumn 24 champion Piggy, but Piggy gets better exit out of the loop and entry. Stays ahead of the Spaniard in the Minari. Juan V also kind of slipstreaming down the straight, but now at Copse he decides to go for it again, side by side through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. And Piggy with that inside line and the final kink still stays ahead, but into Stowe. They don't stop fighting. And Piggy now getting the places when we just concedes the position on the outside and of that dangerous chicane. Guillermo in 11th place racing for Williams. Of course he is not a contender for wins ever since the last season. So Williams were not necessarily hoping for a 1-2 in this race, I would say, but things have also not gone that smoothly for Laguna so far, but now he is catching up to the back of Senna right here. This is for 4th place on the road. Laguna already into turn 3, passes the APA. Pretty equal tires for them, but nice recovery from Laguna now. P12 to 4th place, and also with some strategical issues. We have Pero in P3, and of course the two Etrurias at the front. Pero on 2 stops, Laguna as well. Senna on the 1 stop with pretty equal tires to Laguna, trying to come back at him down the main straight, but can't do so. They both do that grass cut in turn 3, which is kind of optional. It doesn't save you that much time, and it's very tough to get right, and might also make for some very interesting racing scenes in the race. And Senna also has gone onto the grass now, and just saw Justin making his first pit stop. Now signal block goes through. If the rain appears now, it's going to be the exact opposite of last season. But Justin isn't too far behind his teammate actually. He's going to catch up in just a few laps. We also already saw Justin pull a massive gap on his opponents at Malaysia, where he also got lucky in the rain. Of course still showed a lot of skill, to be fair, but he has got a right hand for this stuff. Saber and Crust are both on soft tires in P5 and 6 in the Ivanova GP. The Saber tries to score some points for one time. His teammate has retired already. It's Saber's first race this season for sure. And what was his best results in this league so far? Don't think that he's done too many races last season as well. But he is on for some nice results. Senna has pitted for a second time, and he's actually down to P9. Staying out pretty long on these mediums because he was fighting with Laguna and it looked good. Now he's set to do some recovery. But Fede, his teammate, now also pits and he falls back quite a lot behind Losey even. And there's Maginder in P11, Toaster, Nitro and Guillermo fighting right here with Guillermo on old tires, Toaster and Nitro to either side. Toaster is going to get the inside in Cops. And he's picked hard tires now, and they all don't believe in on the rain returning. Toaster leads the fight on hards as Nitro goes through in the final corner, barely leaves any space for Toaster to keep racing with him. But it still was a fair move by him, and he's up to P8 with a very nice move. And now Toaster falls into the claws of Majumdar as well. There's 25 and tries to get further up in the points, and Toaster kind of looked to lag on the straight there. And that's Laguna choosing fresh soft tires. Lap 22 out of 42, past the halfway point. And we see the third pit stops. Yes, some of the front runners Pitting for a third time, not falling back that much. The pit lane, I think, is a pretty short one around here. And also the graphic now is not correct. I still see it correctly on the PC where I'm hosting, interestingly, because Lozi definitely is not in P6. And now I think it's time to look more on the track map properly. Justin leads Singapore by 5 seconds. One of the great drives from the Dutchman. He is able to put in such performances whenever he is near the front. Also at Zandvoort, it would have been fantastic to see him win, but of course that retirement is going to hurt him for the rest of the season. We are halfway through this championship, and Krasnit, since the last race, has got a big lead. 94 points against Laguna and Pero's 79. But still, it could go anyone's way. Crust also lost the championship last season because of a retirement. And now we're gonna have to watch the racing here. Senna slows down to let Laguna through after he's pushed him off on the gravel. Laguna losing the position in the process to Krasnit, though, who has been storming through into P4. Laguna back down the inside at Copse. Not a huge collision between these two, just like we saw in F1 a few seasons ago, if you might remember. Crust is able to come back at Laguna. They keep it clean. Crust is on fresh softs, Laguna as well. And Senna is pitting for a third time, and yeah, he's not gonna fall back a lot again. He qualified in P5. Oh, and now Crust and Laguna make the same mistake in Brooklands. Too much to the inside. I think that's just like, if you go side by side through there, then you want to go as much to the inside as possible, just trying to cut off these multiple lines that you can get through there. They both had the same idea, and that's why they're still side by side down the hanger straight, with Laguna in the chicane ending up in front. And I think that's a battle that's gonna carry on for quite some laps now, keeping us entertained just like they did this entire last season. And Krasnit coming back at the Spaniard down the Wellington Straight, and he's in 4th place now, not fighting for a podium, just like they did last season, where yes, Senna and Matt, the two one-times, kind of rage baited them. It was very interesting to see the chats on Discord afterwards. And also kind of shook up the driver lineup after that. Now we see another one-time behind them, Sabercat, who's also battling away with Nitro, the Algerian driver in the S25M. And I think that's also kind of why Crust and Laguna now keep it cleaner. As I say that, Laguna dives down the inside at Copse. Krasnit goes very wide to leave the room to the Williams. And Laguna is back ahead, but Krasnit going back at him at Stowe round the outside. Fantastic driving by both of them, but Saber and Nitro are coming closer. And Laguna is an older soft. He's still able to fight with the championship leader, and he also has to for his 3rd championship potentially, as he once again makes the switch back out of the loop and entry. As Matt is doing donuts, already celebrating his 17th position on wet tires. Yeah, wet weather and Matt are not gonna be friends in this league. As Krasnit does the same move on Laguna, lap after lap. We go on to lap 30, and Saber and Nitro also still stay in the same positions, as Laguna almost gets caught up in the rear of Crust. Let's see what they're gonna do now. Sabercat is within a second now, getting a slower exit out of Lovefield there, but Laguna stays behind this time in Copse, and now loses time as they get caught up on the exit of Maggots Beckett's Chapel. And Sabercat has also got fresher tires than Laguna right here. And he has lost the slipstream to Krasnit. Look at Paradrive. Singapore has gone for a 3rd stop, maybe just a few laps ago. Etruria seems like they go for more for longer stints and more tire wear, than their opponents, just like they did at Zandvoort, and almost scored a 1-2 this time. Paradrive is able to get closer, at least in this phase of the race, but he's on very old mediums. The MP still on for a podium? Question mark? Krasnit and Laguno still seem to have made up some time. No, Laguno is now pitted for hard tires. What is this rain actually? We also saw that in Amoral in Brazil, where there was a 25% chance of rain and it just didn't appear. But it was there at the start. So yeah, Laguno trusting that it's not going to return, and he's on hard tires towards the very end of the race. That's very interesting. I doubt that Krasnit is going to pick the same tires. What's Sabercat going to do about that? He goes for medium tires, and Laguno goes down the pit straight, and he is well ahead of the German still. And the Nitro in P7 also on hard tires. And yeah, Crust is definitely gonna go for soft tires. And Perez lost slipstream to the Etrurias, and I think that he's now also gonna go into the pit lane. What's Krasnit doing behind him? Yes, also diving in there. And the two Etrurias are just left at the front again. What a comfortable drive for Brazida's team today. Definitely also less trouble than last time at Silverstone, but this is looking like a Mercedes 2016-esque procession here, with our top two in the championship again in 4th and 5th. Crust 1 second ahead of Laguno, who is on hard tires, and he's if he goes just a bit faster, he's gonna get the slipstream on Krasnit. That's a big ask though, at least over the next few laps. Towards the end, Laguno might have a big tire advantage. Maybe that is his plan, to pass the Ivanova. But I don't know, it's very different strategies for them now. And Nitro has passed Sabercat. Finally, it's happened. He's up to P6. Sabercat in 7th place. They kind of get caught up as well in Brooklands, but they stay as they are. We get Fetty in 8th place. Senna in P9 as Juanvi has retired, sadly, in his return to racing for Minardi. Just 1 point for him all season. And I'm not quite sure what's happened to Senna, because he was up there in like P3 at the start. And now also he's behind Fede, who definitely was a pit stop behind the Brazilian earlier. And now Fede gets a nice run and kind of gets ruined down the old pit straight, as Saber and Nitro are fighting for P6 still. But now the APAs and Majendar come closer. Sabercat getting caught up on the grass many times this race. Sad for the German, but I still think that it's going to be his best result in the league so far, and also his best performance. And Nitro just staying calm as the conductor of that train, I want to say. Now Sabercat becomes just that, and they all get caught in that little strip of gravel at the exit of turn 4, and Fetty and Nitro just kind of shoots ahead around the outside of Saber. Into Magus Beckett's Chapel again. Saber again making contact on his screen, I guess, with some car. Fetty in P7. No, Fetty in P6. That's Nitro in 7th place. Then Saber, Major, and Senna. Senna just kind of helpless at the end of that train. Also getting forced off in turn 1. And now we have the heavy rain. Who is going to be affected the most by that? I think the strategies kind of have sorted themselves out. But of course, Laguno was hoping to pass Crust very soon, I guess. It's, 1 second between them. Justin and Sigma will go for intermediate tires, even though it is heavy rain coming up. Crust and Laguno. Laguno goes for wets, and Crustinet also doing the same. And now the graphic shows me it's a 12-second gap between Pero and Justin. That's not true. It's a 2-second gap between Justin and Sigma Bob, who are at the front of the field. Toaster is also not in the lead of the race. Paradrive is in P3. Is he? No, that's not true. Krasnit, of course, is in 4th place, realistically, ahead of Laguna. And that is Tosin P going down the main straight. Yeah, also the order right here is just messed up. But yeah, Paradrive is in P3, very far behind the two Etrurias, but he has managed to pull off the strategy by staying on these mediums for very long, almost catching up to Sigma Bob there. But he is going to pick up another podium in this season. Krasnit in 4th place, 1 second ahead of Laguna. Now it's sorted out again with Fede best of the rest now. Nitro in 7th place. But Fede no longer part of that pack. That's already a very nice W for him, I would say, in the APA. As Saber dives down the inside in the chicane. Majimdar is not going to be too happy with that move, but I doubt that Sabercat is going to give it back to him on these final 2 laps of the race. Sabercat now drifting a lot more in these tight corners, and Majimdar on the wet tires just benefits off that again and goes up to P8 with Nitro in 7th place. It's going to be nice points for S25M, whose season, is not going too well. They're in P5 in the championship right now. Only one time, and Minardi have got less than 22 points, which is what you need to not be relegated. And we already watched Justin on the final lap of the race. What a bizarre one, I'm gonna say. The strategies at the start have been very different, as they all kind of try to make up for it again. And Etruria have just kept their head clean. It's going to be a beautiful 1-2 for them for the 2nd Grand Prix at Silverstone in a row. Etruria take a 1-2. Justin wins ahead of Sigma Bob again, as they again celebrate in the first section of this track. Paradrive picks up his 3rd podium in his career and his 3rd of the season, with Cross and Laguna finishing off the podium again. It very much is like last season. Fede best of the rest, as I said. Nitro winning that fight in the remaining train, then with Majimdar also in 8th place for S25M.
Sabercat in P9 in the one time. Still a nice job by the German driver. And Senna in P10. Not competitive anymore in the second half of this race, with Piggy in P11 then, after starting on the front row. Yeah, not too many eyes to be had on him after lap 1, sadly. And Toaster rounds out the points paying positions at the moment. I can imagine that there's going to be some penalties for people further ahead. So maybe it is going to be a point for Guillermo, for example, who is not picking up points for the first time ever when he finishes. Guillermo, of course, is still in the Etruria family, reserve driver for Hurricane Racing Team now, but Losi has now got the main seat there. He's also finished in 15th place behind Ludwig in the 2nd Ivanova, and Matt in 16th place. Not sure if he retired officially, but he also messed up in the rain again, and Juanvi and Ozzy definitely DNFing from this British Grand Prix. I'm back to bringing out the videos on time, but the downside of that is that there's no final graphic, so I just put the results screen from the race. But here are the corrected results after penalties have been applied, including a 5-second penalty for Paradrive for entering the pit lane in an unsafe manner, which makes him lose the podium, and Krasnit does finish on the podium after all. Laguna still doesn't. Even he got a 3-second penalty for forcing another driver off the track. His outcome didn't change, but as we look at the provisional standings table now, where of course Krasnit is still shown in 4th place, he is in P3 and is clear at the top of the championship. Laguna isn't in P2 anymore. Laguna got jumped by both Etruria Racing Team drivers. Sigma Bob and Justin have been racing every round so far, and they got the result that they were hoping for at the Dutch Grand Prix already today. Justin has won 2 races this season so far, and Sigma Bob has taken his 3rd consecutive 2nd place finish today. Apart from that, Senna gains a position as Sabercat gets a 3-second penalty, so Senna finished the race in P9 and Sabercat in P10. But let's continue with the standings. Paradrive now finishing in 4th, obviously. They're still going to be in 5th in the standings. Imagine Sigma Bob wins the championship. Senna and Fede are 6th and 8th in the standings for APA. Certainly, they look pretty good, at least if Senna finishes the season with them. And there's no S25M in the top 14. Yeah, Senna is pretty alone in the standings here, as it's a big gap back to Lodbrok as well. Piggy's season is not going as planned, I would say, even though he doesn't expect to fight for the championship anymore. And Seguin, with only 3 races in his career, finishes off the top 10. It is all smiles at Etruria, who lead Ivanova by about 50 points. And it's only 2 points between Williams and MP Motorsport. I can't even exactly tell why, but this race felt so strange to commentate. Also because of the many similarities to last season. But hopefully you still enjoyed it despite the worse audio quality. We'll be back for the US Grand Prix, which will be hosted by the Circuit of the Americas for the first time. Like and subscribe and join the Discord if you want to race yourself, commentate yourself, and have a great time.